Hey, welcome. Let's talk about trading. And right off the bat, forget everything you've heard about it being some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. It's not. We're going to look at it for what it really is, a discipline. You could even call it a quest. And like any great quest, you can't just stumble in. You need a map, you need the right tools, and you absolutely need a solid plan. So let's start that journey.
So I gotta ask you a question, straight up. Do you think you can master the markets? Because this isn't about luck. This is a personal challenge. It's a test of skill, of discipline. And this whole explainer, well, think of it as your first step on that quest.
In any great story, the hero's journey starts with preparation. So part one is all about that. We're forging your tools. This means getting that fundamental knowledge you'll need to even understand what you're looking at. Because without it, you're honestly just wandering around in the dark. Okay, first things first, you gotta speak the language. It all starts with the bid. That's the highest price a buyer is willing to pay. And the ask, which is the lowest price a seller will take. That tiny little gap in between, that's the spread. Then there's liquidity, which is just a fancy way of saying how easily you can get in or out of a trade. And then there's leverage, a very powerful tool that lets you control a big position with a little bit of money. But, and this is a big but, it cuts both ways. It can amplify your wins, but it can also amplify your losses just as fast. Getting these terms down is absolutely essential.
Right, so once you know the lingo, you can start exploring the different realms. You've got stocks, which is basically like owning a tiny piece of a company. Then there's Forex, this massive 24/7 global river of currencies. You've got commodities. We're talking real-world stuff like gold and oil. And of course, you have cryptocurrencies, the wild new digital frontier. Each one of these has its own unique landscape, its own rules, and for sure, its own dangers.
Now, to see what's going on in these realms, traders basically use two different ways of looking at the world. Think of them like two different kinds of lenses. Fundamental analysis digs into a company's health, the economy, all that stuff, to help you decide what to buy. Technical analysis, on the other hand, is all about reading the charts, looking at price history and patterns to figure out when to buy or sell. The really skilled traders? Yeah, they learn how to use both.
Okay, so you've forged your tools, you know the basics. Now it's time to draw your map. A personalized trading plan might just be the single most important thing you create on this journey. It's your guide. It's what keeps you from getting lost when the market gets chaotic and emotional.
And here's the thing, your map has to be yours. It's personal. So first, you define your goals. Are you trying to make quick daily trades, or are you holding for weeks? Then you've got to be honest and assess your risk tolerance. How much can you actually stomach losing on a single trade? From there, you pick your markets, the ones you actually get. Then you set crystal clear entry and exit rules. What exactly has to happen for you to buy, and when do you get out? Finally, all that leads to your position sizing, how much you put on each trade. Answering these questions before you ever click a button is absolutely non-negotiable.
All right, now for the part that honestly keeps you in the game long enough to even have a shot at winning. Part 3, building your shield. And look, this isn't about being timid or scared. It's about being smart. It's about being a strategist. You've heard it before. The best offense is a great defense. In trading, that defense is called risk management.
So let me ask you, what do you think the #1 rule for survival really is? It's not about finding some secret formula or the perfect trade. No way. It's something way, way simpler and a whole lot more powerful.
And there it is, 1 to 2%. That's it. This single number is what separates the pros from the gamblers. By risking only a tiny fraction of your money on any one idea, you pretty much guarantee that no single mistake, no random event can ever knock you out of the game. It means you always live to fight another day.
So how do you actually use this shield? Well, a stop loss is like your automatic eject button. It gets you out of a trade when you're wrong, no second guessing. Proper position sizing, make sure you stick to that 1 to 2% rule. And diversification just means you don't put all your eggs in one basket. These are simple, defensive moves that literally save trading accounts. Okay, you've got your tools, you've got your map, you've built your shield. Now it's time to step into the arena. But here's the twist. The arena isn't just about fighting the market. It's about practice, it's about refining your skills, and it's about mastering the toughest opponent you will ever face, yourself.
Think of this as your training loop. You start with paper trading. It's like a flight simulator for the markets where you can crash without any real consequences. You backtest your strategy. You go back in time and see if it even would have worked. And maybe most importantly, you journal everything. Writing down your trades, your reasons, your emotions. That's how you spot the hidden patterns in your own behavior that are either helping you or hurting you.
Because you can have the greatest strategy in the world, the best tools, but they are completely useless if you just throw them out the window in a moment of panic or greed. It really all boils down to this. Stick to your trading plan and avoid making impulsive decisions based on emotions. The biggest battle is always the one happening inside your own head.
So, how do you win that inner game? Well, you start by just being aware of your emotions, recognizing when you're getting too excited or too scared. You have to avoid revenge trading. That's when you take a loss and immediately jump back in to try and win it back. That's a total account killer. And you know what? Sometimes the smartest trade you can make is to just walk away. Take a break. Clear your head.
As we start to wrap this up, I want you to really hold on to this one idea. Mastery in trading isn't a destination. You never just arrive. The market's always evolving, and you have to evolve with it. This quest is a path of continuous, lifelong learning.
So there you have it. We've laid out the tools, the map, the shield, the training ground. The entire roadmap for your quest is right here. But a map is only as good as the person who follows it, especially when the path gets steep and rocky. So the final question really isn't about the market at all. It's about you. Are you disciplined enough to follow the map? Are you ready for the quest?